If you think about it, this whole thing we call life is nothing but a process. Sometimes we experience positive sensations and sometimes they're negative. But all of these relate to each other. So when we look at every step not as trying to cross some imaginary finish line, but as part of a beautiful song that we call life, I was born in 1985, the year of the ox, in a small town in the southeastern part of the United States in the Blue Ridge Mountains. My childhood was pretty standard. I was an only child and, enjoyed sports, video games, and the standard sort of movie-style American childhood. Throughout my high school years, a lot of the factories and jobs slowly started to disappear from my hometown. And a lot of the production that once existed in the United States moved to China. I think that had a big impact on my mind as I went to university. Ultimately moved to southwestern China in April of 2008. During that time, I'd say I was still chasing that sort of the rich man's dream where I could become wealthy and show the whole world how successful I could be. So I started to wear expensive suits and work in an office as a manager of studying abroad education. In 2014, though, I think that was the first moment where I really woke up. My life in China was quite interesting, but I realized that maybe the traditional path of wealth and status weren't necessarily for me. From a young age, I'd always been passionate about playing music. And I'd also been passionate about world cultures, whether it be in China, West Africa, or even in the mountains. All of this music culture was very exciting to me, but prior to those days, I only thought it could be a hobby. But in 2015, I started to pursue my musical career. In southwestern China with local ethnic minorities, we formed a band that would take the traditional music of the mountains of China and mix it with modern sound to create something new. We were ultimately signed to a record label and we started touring all over China. We were sharing this music, which was not only using Mandarin Chinese, but local dialects and minority languages, which was really awesome. That experience was meaningful because I was starting to go down a less traditional path. However, I realized after completing my first 10 days of silent meditation in 2017 that maybe there are some characteristics of being a musician that are good in the short term but weren't sustainable for me personally. And slowly over the next few years, I'd say that was when the Buddha Dharma, the teachings, really started to impact me. This investigation, not outwardly into what's happening in the world, but what was happening within my own mind. What was giving rise to anger or sadness or ego or all these complex emotions that we all feel. And in 2022, as a result of my mom experiencing an illness, I went back to the United States. And I think it was during that time that I was outside of this music box and everything changed. I first became familiar with Bhutan in 2007. I had purchased actually a physical copy of a map of China because I was planning on moving there. And I was looking around the map at some of the countries bordering China. And a lot of them I was familiar with. They're Mongolia, Korea's, Russia. And then suddenly I came to this country by the name of Bhutan. I'd never heard of it, but it looked quite fascinating, a small country in the Himalayas. So I went on the internet. Those days there was no YouTube yet. And I punched in Bhutan and I started to learn about some of the concepts and things that were happening in Bhutan, whether it had been the transition to a constitutional democracy or gross national happiness. Those things really pulled at my heart, and I felt butterflies in my stomach, almost a love at first sight kind of feeling. And I think at that time, I felt I had some special connection with Bhutan, but it seemed like an impossible dream. At that time, I was only 21 years old, and I didn't know very much about the outside world. Later, after moving to China, I was sitting at a cafe one day in 2014, having a cup of coffee, when some guy I'd never met sat down beside me, and we just started chatting. He said his name was Sonam, and he was from Bhutan. So my face lit up. I was ecstatic. I said, "Wow, you're from Bhutan. That's so awesome." I didn't know at that time that our friendship would blossom into becoming best friends, and now I just call him Acho. And he's been a very important person in my life for over 10 years now. Through communicating with him, he had some faith that I was genuine in my desire to practice the Dharma. As when I was home in the United States, I was spending all of my free time reading, meditating, and practicing. And slowly but surely, after my mom's health improved, he suggested that maybe it would be a good idea for me to visit Bhutan. And so ultimately, in February of 2024, I took my first steps into this mysterious Himalayan kingdom with stars in my eyes and a genuine interest in figuring out what actually is Vajrayana. What is this sort of mystical practice that was taught in the Buddha's final teachings? Later on, as I learned more about the Buddha Dharma and started my meditation practices, my interest in the Buddha Dharma continued to grow and continued to grow. And ultimately, my Achu, while I was back home in the United States, introduced me to Tsula Lopen Rinpoche. And after arriving in Bhutan, I was very blessed to be given my first face-to-face introduction with Tsula Lopen Rinpoche at Buddha Point, which is behind us right now. That meeting was very meaningful for me, and I felt an instant connection. And through his guidance, I was given the blessed opportunity to settle at Simtokha Dzong, which is home to the monastery of Simtokha Shedra. There I was able to start learning Chüki, Gaka, as well as take Dzongkha classes. And I was able to teach English and Chinese to the monks at the Shedra. That time was really exciting, you know. It was a dream to be surrounded by the Sangha and to spend my days eating emadatsi, performing rituals, and just being around all of these new friends who just happened to be monks. That was a really powerful moment in my life, and I think that was where sort of the transition in my heart to genuinely pursue a Dharma path as a monk really began. And at the same time, I was also fortunate to meet Jamyang Rinchen, Sangye Tiyongten, and the Pakso Boys. And they had asked me to help them out with some music. We recorded some songs, one inspired by His Majesty by the name of Ngar. Another song called Losar. The end of my musical career was performing at National Day 2024 at Changlimitang in front of an audience of over 40,000 people. This performance turned out to be my final one. Thus was the cherry on top of the sundae of my musical career. Life as a monk here in Simtokha is really awesome, and every day is full of surprises. Of course, we wake up early and start with meditation and prayer, with the sound of a gong. Regularly we have classes, we have rituals to perform. The more advanced monks will engage in debate. But so many unexpected things happen from day to day, so many surprises. And I think that's where the real practice comes in. Whenever our mind is running about, whether we feel happy and are attached to something or feel a bit unhappy and are trying to push something away, it's always important that we keep an eye on our mind and the process of its roaming. So as a monk, every moment of the day, from waking up to going to sleep, is part of our practice. And I try to maintain that mindset throughout each day, even if we have a rest. Broadly speaking, in Bhutan, I feel like I found the right place, a bit of a place that feels like home for me. Whether it be the kindness and the generosity of all the people in Bhutan, or the awesome food, whether it be emadatsi, shamodatsi. All of this food became my favorite. I think it's truly a blessing, and I feel like the luckiest person in the whole world to be practicing and living here in Bhutan. I've had so many memories during the last 2 years in Bhutan. It's hard to pick out anyone in particular. But just a few days ago, I came back from Gelugfu, where I had the opportunity to volunteer for the building of Gelugfu Mindfulness City. And the power of that experience, so many people coming out and working together on the land to build this new city that's here to share Buddhism with the rest of the world, is an incomparable feeling that everybody in Bhutan is working together under the guidance of His Majesty to do something like this. It's really awesome. And the kind of feeling I had amongst everybody, even as an outsider from another country, as part of a big team, a big family who wanted to do something not just for Bhutan, but something that can be meaningful for people across the world, it's really incredible. I'm almost at a loss for words for how to describe that feeling to be part of something like that. There are an incredibly large amount of challenges when it comes to monastic studies, whether it be the fundamental principles of Buddhism in English language. It's already difficult. But here in Bhutan, needing to learn classical Tibetan or Chuke, as well as Dzongkha, really adds to the challenge. It's very, very tough. And sometimes I worry about if I have the capacity to do such a thing. But upon reflecting, to have an opportunity to be in Bhutan, which is a country focused especially on preserving and sharing the Vajrayana teachings within this kingdom as well as the rest of the world, is a rare opportunity. And being given this opportunity, I think it really enforces the need to work hard, not only for myself, but to improve and be a person that can help others as well. At the end of the day, the whole reason behind coming to Bhutan and engaging in this practice is quite simple. The nature of this life we have in 2026, with all the vast technology and all the possibilities, hasn't found a solution to my suffering, nor has it seemed to solve the problem that so many billions of people in our world continue to suffer. I think we all need to find some sort of way to not only look at our external circumstances and how they might be challenging, but look at our own thought process. Where is my anger coming from? What can I do about it? What makes me feel sad? What is making it hard to sleep at night? These are all things that come from our own thought process. And this is the foundation of how life is experienced. In the absence of this sort of insight, of this sort of wisdom, it doesn't matter if we have hundreds of millions or billions of dollars, we have not fixed the foundation of our life, which is our thought process. Prior to practicing Dharma, Prior to coming to Bhutan, it didn't matter whether I made lots of money and wore a nice suit. It didn't matter if I was on stage in front of 40,000 people. I found myself in the same cycle, grasping at happiness and pushing away at suffering. And at some time, we have to find a way for that to end. Not only so that we can live a happy life, but so that we can find a way to help other people fix their sufferings as well. And that, at its core, is the reason I'm here. And that's the reason that I'll continue to live my life as a monk, working hopefully to benefit not just myself, but everybody in this world.